5-minute salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me virtually is Veronica Nieves with 360 Advanced. Veronica, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for coming on the show. So, Marine Corps veteran, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, where are you from? What you do in the Marine Corps, and what's been your post-military journey?
So, for me, I was born in New Jersey. I ended up coming over from Puerto Rico, so very, very deep roots in my culture. Based on the family, if you are Hispanic for the most part, I think that your parents take care of keeping you in that realm. So I grew up in New Jersey. I went to school there until high school, moved to Point Siena, Florida, when there was absolutely nothing there. Eventually, I finished high school, joined the Marine Corps, and that's where I started my IT career, doing communications. I was a tactical switchboard operator. And from that point, I was medically separated after 6 years for a hip injury in 2012, which I took the opportunity to, again, kind of integrate myself into the community.
Yeah.
Started searching full time where I was going to kind of focus on setting roots. And that brought me to St. Augustine, Florida. And I started working at St. Johns County Sheriff's Office.
That's great. You know, so I've been asked this question by some civilian friends like, hey, how many folks in the military leave what they were doing in the military and find the exact job on the outside, you know, in the civilian sector? And I tell them very few. I mean, I think there's some folks that their jobs directly translate what I did in the military is exactly the same thing I'm doing here in the civilian sector. Some are close, but not quite the same. But how was your movement from doing IT and being a switchboard operator in the Marine Corps to what you did in your post-military career? And then was there things you had to learn in order to be proficient in this IT field, which is very wide and deep?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, you're in the military, that's going to focus around more tactical arenas. You're setting up communications for any operation that you're involved with. And so then your training is a little bit different than what you would go into more so on a civilian side. You can definitely find opportunities doing the same thing, exactly the same thing on a contractor level, still working for the military. I decided to come back to be a little bit closer to my family. My parents live in Orlando, some of my siblings. So then it was just a closer travel time for them.
Yeah.
But my experience at the sheriff's office, I did the IT help desk thing. I jumped into digital forensics. I ended up leaving as a software management tech. So then that, again, you're learning specific to those tasks. IT's never ending learning process.
Yeah.
It's something that's changing every single day. So depending on the needs of what that task is and which department you fall into, their needs, their expectations are going to always vary. And that's going to happen in any organization. So I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to, again, have that ongoing training process and engagement in different realms.
And did you find that? Were they very receptive?
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing that I always carry with me is my work ethic, regardless of where I go. So that follows my reputation, will always follow that. So that's one of those things where I'm going into any arena and I'm going to build those relationships. I'm going to have my work ethic that follows me, and I'm going to have the opportunity to be asked to join teams.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's ever not been there for me.
Yeah.
Whether I was at the sheriff's office or now on a private sector with 360 Advanced.
So as you kind of look backwards to, you know, from your military career forward, what is the one thing you would tell yourself, or you know, one or two bits of advice you would tell veterans, or veterans, but service members looking to transition out of the service?
The very first thing I'm going to say is focus on the industry that you want to work in. One of the biggest things for me is passion, is being able to learn and stay focused on where you want to go. So what is your goal? Don't waste time learning and getting certifications and spending money on all these certifications that at the end of the day aren't cheap,
Yeah.
and you might not use depending on where you end up. So
Yeah.
do your research. What's interesting for you? What do you want to take out of the engagement? And where do you want to start building those connections? Where do you want to start to network? Go out, join your local community, join the organizations that are veteran based. You're going to meet so many people that are already working in these fields. You have the opportunity to ask questions. There are so many resources for veterans that you can tap into already.
Yeah.
Don't waste time trying to do it by yourself. There's always a mentor there for you. So definitely do your research and engage with your community.
No, I love what you said. It's funny here locally. I've gotten plugged in with a number of groups. One that I'll put a shout out to, Vets on Tap. We meet, a couple times a month at either craft brewery or coffee shop, and it's not about drinking a hot beverage or a cold beverage. It's about the community and the discussion. And we actually go around the room. Who are you? What you do? And more importantly, what you're doing now. And what I've seen is, through that networking, there's folks looking to hire folks who found great individuals to bring on their team, and then folks saying, hey, but I know of somebody looking for a highly qualified person, and I think you meet those qualifications. Let me get you in contact with those individuals. And I think you're right. It's that whole, just because you had courage in the military, both physical and moral courage to put yourself out there, you got to do it even that much more in the civilian sector, because nobody's going to give you the answer. But I love what you said.
Right. Yeah, and one thing that we kind of stray away from is asking for help, right?
Yeah.
We're used to doing a lot of things by ourselves. Sometimes we just want to, I think ego and pride gets in the way many times, instead of us having the opportunity to network and build on those relationships and take the opportunity to dig into the saying, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. So yes, I believe in relationship building and networking and maintaining those relationships, because it's not only presenting yourself when you need something, it's actually taking the time to build on those relationships and be present.
Oh, absolutely. And you get that trust factor built in, and, opportunities happen. I've used this term, as many people, rising tides lift all boats. So if we're all helping each other, regardless of what help means, it's a valuable time spent, because as a good friend of mine, Jay McGuire, would say, your network is your net worth. And worth is not always monetary. It's also a sense of pride, a sense of connection and such. And you hit on all that. So Veronica, thank you very much for your service. We appreciate what you did to service to our nation, and specifically to your service in the Marine Corps and what you're doing in your post-military career. So thanks for taking time to spend with us here today. Hey folks, if you like what you see, follow us on LinkedIn. We're going to post this across the Daily News Network and all the social media. Continue to listen to what our veterans provide, that workforce capability and value to your organization. And if you're a veteran, get plugged in. It matters.